So, how would you like people to be introduced to the museum?
Oh, how would I? Okay. The Snoqualmie Valley has a really rich history. People have lived here for millennia, since time immemorial, over 12,000 years.
Wowzers.
And so it has this amazing rich history. And I want people to understand that we have such a rich history and that the Snoqualmie Valley in particular is very significant on a national level because of that history. The Snoqualmie Valley was a sacred space to the Snoqualmie tribe. It was where the transformer began changing everything for the whole Coast Salish region. It has served as a major transportation corridor for European Americans since they arrived. We had Army surveyors coming in the 1850s to try and locate the northern transcontinental route before the Civil War happened. And Snoqualmie Pass, as the lowest cross-cascade pass in Washington, was the primary route they were thinking. Of course, the Civil War changed things and we didn't get the northern route before the Civil War, but it's been this major corridor from west to east since for thousands of years, actually. And since Europeans, Americans, and Asians started trading together, it's been the major route to get goods from Japan and China to New York and then on to Europe if they weren't going across Asia to Europe. So we get goods coming into the port of Seattle that then go all the way to the East Coast through the Snoqualmie Valley. I want people to understand how important that is. And not only that, we have this immense natural beauty and landscape and wildlife here that are also equally important and treasured because of the railway land grants and then Weyerhaeuser purchasing those properties. Huge portions of our land is preserved, unlike just 30 miles east, where it's a mega city, basically, where multiple cities have combined into one giant city. And you come to the Snoqualmie Valley, and it takes up about 40% of our county. You know, King County in the Puget Sound region has the 11th largest economy in the world, bigger than individual countries even. Yet you can step away from the city and you're suddenly in this wonderful environment. And I want people to understand that. The museum itself was started in 1939 by a school teacher when it was the 50th anniversary of the founding of North Bend and Snoqualmie and Washington statehood. And they did a play in the school where kids performed stories of the last 50 and 100 years. And Ada Hill, who was the founder, was a school teacher. And she got a lot of the Snoqualmie tribe members and pioneers to play themselves in the play and loan items so that the kids could dress up as them. When it was over, they let her keep some of the items to start the museum. And so it's always been a fairly small museum. It was in the school until the 60s, and then the baby boom meant that they needed classroom space, and the Historical Society was formed to take it over. And then in the 70s, we were moved to a 1950s house, which we're still in. But we've outgrown that. We're covering 40% of King County, and we're in less than 3,000 square feet.
Wow.
I want people to realize that there's this immense history that we're trying to preserve, and we're not doing as good of a job telling the stories as we could because we're not in a big enough space, but it's important. And when you come to the museum, you can see that importance. We have all of these small exhibits. I want people to realize they're just that tiny 1/10 of 1% of the stories that are important in the community.
Excellent. If we were out with friends and we're just meeting new people, Like, how would you invite them to the museum?
Oh, I am not a very social person, so I have a hard time with this, but I'd say come see the museum and the exhibits. Just walk in the door. We're open 6 days a week.
Excellent advice.
We have really engaging stories. We just had 3 Montessori school field trips this week. And then after they left today, I probably had 20 other people just walk in the door. And I get a lot of feedback that for such a small museum, we're actually extremely well done, which is good, but we need to share that with the rest of the community.
Absolutely. There's a lot to acknowledge there. There's a lot of acknowledge and to make it accessible.
Yes.
For people to feel welcome or to I saw actually when I was leaving there, people were coming in different doors. There was like elderly people and there was little kids. And people were reading signs outside. So it was like you had a nice like woven hub there of people enjoying the space.
But I think accessibility is a key. And because we're in a 1950s building, it's been challenging. As the different improvement projects along Highway 202 have happened over the years. I've been there for almost 20 years now. Each improvement to improve all of the traffic for all of the new residents that are moving there has made our museum less and less accessible. So we used to have a driveway right off of Highway 202, and that got moved with the first project. And then with the next project, they put in a right turn lane, which meant all the traffic was turning, and then it was really hard to then take an immediate right turn into our parking lot.
True.
And then they did another project, and it took away the sidewalk from our parking lot to the front door. So now people get confused how to get in. We're in the middle of a capital project to try and improve that. So we just put in sidewalks from the back area to the parking lot and put in an ADA accessible parking spot because we hadn't had that previously. Cool. And we just added temperature and humidity controls to the museum this summer.
Excellent.
Which is a great start. But we're supposed to be adding French doors and redoing the back patio to make it actually more warm and inviting.
That's the back side. That would make it so much nice.
Yeah.
That would make it really welcoming because they put in a lot of the landscaping's nice back there, and there's new picnic tables. That's where I park my bicycle.
So that's part of the project. And we're also going to be insulating the farm shed building, which is the second building of the museum space. And once that's done, we can move some stuff out of a collection storage room and turn it into a workspace so that we don't have the big scanner in the main room taking up exhibit space.
It was a little bit startling to see the scanner
there
when I was kind of in a vibe of like historical things, and I saw the scanner. I know it's for preservation,
but it doesn't belong there. But we're in the middle of trying to insulate another building, and I don't want to put it where the dust is going to be.
Do you think the museum's good for families?
I think it's good for families. I find a lot of visitors come and they're in multi-generational groups. So grandparents, parents, and grandkids. I have been finding that kids are changing compared to how it was when you and I were growing up. They are definitely the last 5 years more interested in history than I've seen in decades. The attention spans are much shorter, so that's more challenging. So the hands-on activities for field trips are really important.
Yeah.
Sitting through story time is becoming harder. Reading a full story is longer than a lot of kids today can deal with, which is a new experience to me. But I think kids are definitely engaged.
Excellent. Okay, so this